When we're triggered and we're triggered into fear, it's different from when we're triggered into love. And
Mhm.
so we know that the brain is always, 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 every brain is always scanning the environment for threat or reward. So you walk into a room, you wake up in the morning, every time, all the time, your brain is scanning threat, reward, threat, reward. It goes away from threat and it allows us to go towards reward. That's what is happening. When we're in a
Mhm.
threat state, we activate the fight, flight, freeze response. When we are in a reward state, we activate endorphins like love and, you know, our serotonin, our oxytocin. Yeah. We also, in fight can also, it can also have an adrenaline rush and excitement. Same with when we're in a reward state. And we don't always know the difference, right? But and because we don't always know the difference, um, I wanted to look at that difference. What happens when I'm in a threat state? Now, I know I'm not hooked up to machines to be able to look at this all. Over time, having spoken with thousands of people over 21 years, I've seen the pattern. And when I look at neuroscience, and I just would take things from neuroscience and go, oh, look, I can see it in behavior. So the other day when we were meeting, I was sharing this in the meeting that I'm going to just go grab it here. So I share this image of the tree, and this model is called TCAR. And in this model, it looks at how we are with change. How do we manage change? And when we look at this, it's to say that our thoughts will lead to our emotions. So thoughts will lead to emotions, and also our emotions will lead to our thoughts, right? So you open that email, and a boss has said, I don't approve of this. I open the email, and I'm going to have some thoughts, right? And then it will create some emotions in my body. I could walk into a boardroom, or I could walk into a mall and see some activity that maybe is scary for me, or I just get overwhelmed by the number of people. And I feel it first. So I've got these emotions that are showing up. And then I might think, ooh, I don't want to be here. This is too much for me. I don't think I can handle it. I don't want anyone to look at me. So my thoughts can lead to emotions. My emotions can lead to thoughts. Then I will create choices. So if I just stay with the mall one, I'm in the mall and there's so many people, I might go, ooh, I gotta leave. And and so this is when we just kind of know, oh, okay, look, here I am, and I'm making a choice right now. And my choice is that I don't want to talk with people. I don't want to be around so many people. This is all happening. Why there's a line there is because it's all happening subconsciously on the inside. So I've got thoughts leading to emotions, emotions leading to thoughts. So they're creating my choices in the moment. Then they show up in my behaviors, my actions. This is out in the world, right? So if you look at, yeah, so if we go here again, we'd go, oh, then my actions are then creating my reality, how I'm showing up in the world. And so this is what we want to look at is aware am I of how my thoughts and emotions are leading to choices that I'm making internally. If I don't check out what's happening here, I won't understand why I'm behaving the way I'm behaving. I'm choosing the actions that I am and what it's creating in a moment. So really what we're doing here is we're doing this work to see what's happening inside me. This is inner leadership, to see, oh, how am I participating in my reality? Is it creating what I want? So it helps us be more with what is already existing. If I get an email or a friend says something that I don't like, it already exists. It's already in the reality. I look at what's my response to that that's creating my behaviors in that reality. And so that's really where this comes in. When I'm in fight, flight, or freeze mode, there are always thoughts, emotions, and choices that are happening. And often what we'll do is we will spin around in judgment. So this is the pattern of how we think. So again, just looking at thoughts. Thoughts are a language. And it's a language of reactivity that will, that sounds like this. There'll be some, this is the pattern. I judge myself or someone else, or I judge Mother Nature, you know? So you'll hear language of blame, shame, or guilt, or exaggerations. They always do this. They never do this. I'm always wrong. They're always right. We will share, those are kind of the thoughts that are swimming. And if we break them down even more, what I notice is that the more I think that, it takes over, and it's all things that I don't want to think or believe. So we will share our interpretations of that. Like, for example, of an email, I might say, so obviously they think that I'm not worth it. I'm bringing that thought into my head. They didn't say that. That wasn't in the email. But I am going ahead and interpreting. I need to, if I look at my reality, that is not what I want to believe. So I brought that thought into my reality. And what happens when I think that is then I go into a want, just for you to see the pattern, right? Where it's like, well, I want her to not think that. I want her to just understand who I am and where I come from, and that I want her to look good, for example, right? And I always say this is impossible because I'm not doing anything about that. I'm not telling her that I want her to look good. I'm not, whatever. Another way to show it is, for example, when the weather is bad or when it's snowing and it's the end of March, watch us in our fight, flight, or freeze. Listen to thoughts, right? Oh my gosh, it's still snowing. We've got so much snow. When's it just going to be summer? I want it to be summer. That's actually how we're thinking. This is all happening underneath. It's impossible for it to be summer right now. But all of our energy is focused on what's impossible. Then we make a demand, oh, can it just be summer already? And we don't think that that's having an impact, but it is, because our thoughts are leading to our emotions that are leading to my choices. Oh, I'm just not going to go out then. I'm not going to go out for the next 3 months then if it's the start of winter. And then I start complaining about how I'm not seeing people. Do you see it? Like, I'm actually creating my reality. What I'm doing is I'm reacting to. So that's why I wrote react like this. I'm reacting to my reality, and I'm literally reacting out the pattern of judgment, thoughts, wants, demands. I'm reacting out that pattern over and over and over again. What happens is it makes the brain really busy, and it's exhausting because it's busy around something that's impossible. Someone makes a remark that we don't like or uses a tone that we don't like. They shouldn't use that tone. We're still in the past because we wished that they didn't use it. And all we keep talking about is they shouldn't have, which means it's already happened. And so we are in the world of impossibility. It's unchangeable, it's immovable, but all of my energy is around that. And you'll hear, whenever I ask people what their thoughts are, you'll hear it. You'll hear well, I can't believe they said that, and they can't talk to me like that. Do they know who I am? Do they know who my mother is? Just as an example. Some research says that there are 70 to 100,000 thoughts a day. And I'm just asking us to just capture just a few of them to see, where are our thoughts taking us? Are they keeping us in blame, shame, or guilt of ourselves or someone else, or the planet, Mother Nature, right? Or nature in general? When it is that way, we will have a judgment. So sometimes we don't realize our judgment is what I would call our operating system. So, for example, if my judgment, and I don't realize it, is that they are um, like a micromanager, or if I judge someone as being overbearing, or I judge someone as being misogynist or a racist or um, inconsiderate, then you'll hear my language will support that. It'll be like, see, look, you know what? This is what they did that was inconsiderate. They couldn't even let me rest. They couldn't even, you know? And the more I do that and say that, those thoughts, the more I say them more and more and more and more and more, they become my reality. Then of course I can't handle that, right? We're in fight, flight, or freeze mode. I often will share with people Dr. Stephen Karpman's work, which is the hero, villain, victim triangle. That's what we actually do. We react out the pattern of hero. Oh, I can save the day. That's, you know, I've got to do all of the things. I don't need rest until I get resentful. So heroing isn't helpful. I will be villaining. I'll be like, I can't believe they said that. I can't believe they did that. Yeah. Or victiming. Why does it always happen to me? Anyway, when I do that, when I take on any of those roles, I am in the language of reactivity. I'm in the drama triangle, and drama creates trauma. It creates fight, flight, or freeze, which is a trauma response. And trauma response revisited over and over again can create a big T trauma, which means I just open the email from the same person and my whole body's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Or I hear someone argue like my parents did, and I go, whoa. My whole body goes, I remember that from before. It is statistics. It's like my body goes, I remember this, and it just adds to that memory. And now 80% of the time we respond in a similar way to a different person or a different situation. So I'm sharing this with you because why I shared that framework with you before was because this means that we are in harm, in essence, because you can feel the pain that shows up when I think this way, right? So I was looking for a way to get out of harm, a non-harming approach then, a non-harming way to think and respond. So we call it the language of create, and look at C-R-E-A-T is the same letters as R-E-A-C-T. Isn't that amazing? That means we are creating with our reality instead of just reacting to it. We go, oh, okay, this is it. What? It's like, I already made the soup. What's needed now? It's already snowing. What's needed now? Oh, I put on really warm clothes then. Okay, then I can go out. You see, we can create. We will be creative, like you notice that when your son is creative, right? So then what we're doing then is we need to translate and transform our judgments to observations. So I look at that email, or I look at, you know, what it was exactly that I heard or saw that was triggering to me. And I name it in 10 words or less. And I stop my mind from saying, yeah, and they did this. And they probably think, no, I didn't see that. It was my thought. You know, and I'm not enough. And they probably think, no, they probably think it means that you are thinking that. And you brought that in. It's not true. They didn't say that. It's what exactly I heard. And I'm training my mind to stop exaggerating, to stop creating more pain. So we are literally transforming ourselves. And if we could watch ourselves, we would see that, oh, they go out of protection mode and they go, oh, yep, yeah, connect, divide, let's duplicate. Good. We're growing here. But we must take a little, just like when you take a sample size or a biopsy, you go, oh, let me just take this little sample of a thought or something that I heard or saw, and it's got to be exact. And I find the word and I go, oh yeah, that triggered this feeling. I just call it fear. It triggered this fear response. Okay. It was exactly what I heard. And I do that. And this is where I find we have a really difficult time because we don't know how to get out of judgment. We have a story and we go, yeah, but this, and they did this and this. And we go, no, no, no. Let's just find the moment. So the difference is like, I always imagine it's like a surveillance camera. And if I was watching the surveillance and I showed it to someone, my 9-year-old's child, I said, I just want you to watch the surveillance camera and watch when they say these exact words, not my interpretation of it, not when they were mean. What was it that they were mean about? What did you hear them say that you interpreted as mean? When we get this done well, we start to clean ourselves and release the pain that we are in. If we stay in the pain, then it has to go somewhere. It will go into our bodies and it has to go out into the world. The same way when I release like my joy, it has to go somewhere. It goes out in the world too, and it goes in my body. We do this so that we are non-harming. But if we don't do this well, and if that's not our practice, then what happens is we're like just doing this mechanical thing, and we can use this to weaponize, and lots of people have and don't know it. We're like, okay, I just don't want her to argue, so I don't want that to argue. So it's almost like we weaponize it. We've seen that happen in our lives before, right? But we actually do this, we choose, it's a practice for ourselves the same way. It's like it's a beautiful act of self-care. I am releasing the harm, so I'm processing it. So I go, it's when I heard them say, you need to come to me for approval. What feelings came up in my body? And I list them. I go to the feelings and needs list and I just list them like a laundry list. I don't justify them. Feelings don't work like that. They just come. They do. They just come. Right. So I list them and I go, I felt angry, hurt, disappointed, exhausted. Okay, where did I feel them? And I go and I find them, I locate them. Oh, because that means at any time something like this, something similar in my brain goes, oh, it's a threat again, watch out. I go, oh, instead of making that connection in my body, which is what's happening, the brain's going, remember, this is just like that time when someone was you wanted independence, and you thought someone was taking your independence. It's the independence pattern. You go, oh, so that the brain doesn't go, oh, yeah, remember, freeze, okay, feel it in your chest. Yeah, remember. And this time it's when you went to the store and someone you went to ask a question and someone said, no, 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 I'm going to deal with this person first. The brain doesn't know that it was the store, or it was my boss, or it was my child or my partner, right? The brain goes, oh, it's again where you had something, you just wanted to exercise your independence and someone said no. Okay. Okay, so we want to make a disconnection there. We don't want the brain to go, oh, yeah, freeze right here. And so that's why we go to the feelings list on page 3, and I figure them out and I go, oh, and I slow down and I digest them and I go, oh, I'm feeling hurt. Yeah. And I just digest them, it's not to stay in the pain, but just because we're transforming. So we got to go back there and go, let me go get it again. And then sensationally, I feel the sensations. I go, oh, it's in my throat. Okay. And I just breathe here gently. And I let the breath come in. And I just let it just settle. I release, I relax, and I just practice relaxing my muscles so that there isn't that connection to that pattern. It goes to this pain. No. And I start to release and I just feel it. I do a few breaths. Good. Then I go to page 4 and I go, well, what is my need in this moment right now? When I read that email, I realized I've got a need for, and maybe it is independence or integrity or openness. And then I go to request. And so what I do is I ask myself, I say, Dale, what are you willing to do to meet your need for independence in this moment? And it's in this moment and it has nothing to do with anyone else. And I just imagine myself wrapped up in my need, because that's why we go into protection mode, is because we're concerned that this need isn't going to be met. And we don't even know what it is. So what we do is we just start arguing with folks, hero, villain, victim. We're like, well, you know what? You don't think I'm good enough. And, this person supported me and you're not. No, we're not getting our need met. I've got a need for independence, let's say, or agency. And I go, oh, when I read that email as an example, independence right now, if it walked into the room and it hugged me up like a scarf and warmed me up, it would say, my response would be, thank you. I received your email.
Yeah.
Or you will know. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I just wanted you to see really what we were doing, like, and why, there are a few people who've asked to continue in different ways, like trying to figure it out if they can get approval, whatever you're looking at EAP. But this, I just wanted you to see, this is actually the foundation of what we were doing. But I wanted you to now see it, like now going back in retrospect, I think you will see where it's like, when I was asking you, what was happening, that's where it came from. It's like, we are in pain, in emotional pain, because we're in fight, flight, or freeze, right? We're like this. And if we're ready to fight or we're ready to freeze, right? And we're like, but when we freeze, all of our energy goes into that. And like, if you were to squeeze, squeeze, you can't let anything else in. You can't protect and grow at the same time. You can't do it. So we do this for ourselves. And then also, it's the same practice to be able to speak now. When I clear this and I realize that my need is for, if I'm just imagining, I was just imagining for you, I was just imagining, because I know the pattern of like, here's someone saying, it's like, I'm bossing me. No one likes to be bossed. Our 9-year-old doesn't. We don't like to be. But I don't even have to hold on to that. I can go, oh, I've just got a need for independence. When I read your email, I go, I got it. I see you. And I just say, thank you. That's it. But you will know what I mean is that when you do this practice daily, if you were to do an O, observation, feelings, sensations, needs, requests, if you practice one a day, I promise you, and I really promise you, I guarantee you with like all that I have, that you will feel a difference, and you will, because you are meeting your own need and you're not relying on someone else. And it's not to, you're not angry, it's not disrespectful to a boss, a parent, a friend. It's that I realized that, oh my gosh, it was triggering my, like, opening my need for independence, or for, I don't know, connection or self-acceptance with, and I'm like, oh, self-acceptance would look like, I read your email, and even though I was triggered by these particular words, I went, yes, thank you. I see what you're saying. So if you're saying, for example, I need approval from you, it's like, received, I got it. Say too. I didn't say I agree that you did this, you didn't do this. I just said, I read your email and I understand. That's what might come, maybe not. What you'll see is when you do this, you will know for yourself. This is where it's creative, because you will create for you what you need to meet your own need.